We are moving to page 2. Page 2 of the Ask Me Anything videos. How have you improved your writing process over time? Good question. I don't read these in advance. I haven't thought about this. But how do I improve my writing process? How have you improved your writing process over time? I mean, I haven't been writing that long, if you think about it. It's not like I've been writing for 20 or 30 years. So I feel slightly inadequate answering this question, but how have you improved your writing process over time? In so many ways, in like 1,000 ways. My writing process improves through reading authors who are better than I am, I would say, more than anything. But it also improves from just writing more and reading your own work and realizing that something could be better. The more I read and the more I write, the more I realize that I admire and aspire to write simple, clear prose. I'm not trying to show off. All authors show off a little bit, and I'm trying to cut that back, cut it out completely. I just want to tell the story in a very pure, kind of essential, simple way. And in some ways, how have you improved your writing process over time? I think my ideas process is always good. Like, I get a good idea, it's beautiful in my head. It's transferring that idea from my head down to the page. Really difficult. So I want that process to be as good as possible. That's where it starts. Okay, I don't know how my writing process has improved. It has, but it's kind of very slow and incremental, and it's mainly due to continuing to read people who are better than me. And sometimes read writers where I don't end up liking the book at all, but I've learned something through that process. It comes from having great editors as well. So my editors are both very, I would say, kind of hands-off. They have a distance in their editorial process, at least when they're editing me. But the insights that they bring are fantastic. They're quite kind of high level, and they're not like overly instructive. They're more like, have you thought about this? Or take another look at this. And it's something that maybe I've been thinking about, but I couldn't face it, or I couldn't articulate it to myself. And they step in and they're able to see it, and they're able to suggest it. And that's fantastic. And that helps my writing process. The other thing that I find helps in general as a writer is distancing yourself from the rest of the world. Like, no, that sounds wrong. That is wrong. You have to be in a way closer to the rest of the world, in terms of you have to be hearing, listening to, noticing, reading about other people's lives, other people's stories, other people's realities. But at the same time, you need to distance yourself from all that so that you can compost it and derive something from it and understand it in some essential way, so that you can write it down in a work of fiction in 3 years' time. Like, it will inform your characterization in some way. Does that make sense? Was that a load of drivel? It could have been a load of drivel. I apologize if it was a load of drivel. But how have you improved your writing process over time? One big factor here is that I have a urge, a need, a craving to improve my writing process over time. I know how good The Paying Guests is by Sarah Waters. I know how good We Will Always Live in a Castle is by Shirley Jackson, you know. I know how good the writing of Marlon James is. I know how good these writers are. Therefore, I must keep at it. And I'm not impatient in this. You know, I'm 41. I think I'll be writing until I can't write any longer. So let's say another 50 years. So I have time to improve. But I'm also a little bit impatient. So I'm kind of patient, but I'm also wanting to get cracking at it. So I do read so that I can work better. And I think if I read 60 books in a year, then they'll all help me in some way, in some tiny way. But I'll read 1 or 2 books a year which help me a great deal. Like, I'll notice something about their structure, or about their world building, or about how they cut their dialogue right back to what is essential. And I'll take something from that. So, and the thing is, you never know which book that's going to be. So you need to read a lot to find that one book, because it's a different book for everyone that makes an impact like that on you. Homegoing by Gyasi. That was her debut. And it's so ambitious and big in its scope. That was a wake-up call to me reading that book. Like, wow, you need to be a little bit more bold sometimes, or you can break out of what you think was possible, and you can try something larger, say something more, maybe you can try. So yeah, how have you improved your writing process over time? Like, I don't know if it's improved or how it's improved. I feel it's improved, but I can't really say how it's improved. I don't like investigating or critiquing my own writing. I think that's for other people to do. I'm just trying to get better. And like I say, I try and distance myself from that whole thing, because I need to focus on my stories. That's my job. My job is to just focus on my stories. Focus on the next story. Right now I'm working on my second standalone and on Tuva 5. And I'm focused on those stories. But yeah, I hope it does improve over time. And like I say, I do find it comforting that I read authors and read their entire body of work, and they are improving over time. That makes me confident that it's possible. Hope that's answered the question. Thank you very much.